And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to the live stream. This time we are here for the first ever Fantasy Era qualifying session here for the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. I am once again JW97, and I'm once again joined by my arch nemesis Ra. Sounded like his mic died a bit there. But you just about heard him there faintly. But anyway, I don't know if Ra had a bit of a microphone issue there or not. But anyway, we're getting set for Q1. As you can see, it's going to be a bone dry qualifying session. No rain for any of the three sessions. So no rain is going to interrupt any of these sessions at all. So I think without further ado, let's get into it. And well, this is going to be very, very interesting, Ra, because I'm going to ask you now, because who do you believe will be eliminated in the first part of qualifying, Ra?
I think it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to go for both AlphaTauris or Williams, two Aston Martins, and a Haas.
My prediction, I've gone with both AlphaTauris, both Williams, an Aston Martin, and a Haas. That's my predictions. So anyway, you guys can let us know your predictions down in the stream chat as well. So you believe will be eliminated in the first part of qualifying. And hello, Roman Quag, who's just joined us in the stream chat. And hello, Daniel Fraser as well. But we are in the pit lane. And just so you know that Amelia Wilson's three-letter prefix has now been fixed. So that issue has gone away. But the first car on the track for the first qualifying session of 2021 is Evan Byrne in the Renault. And it will be very interesting to see where the Renaults end up, Rock, because so far they've looked pretty strong.
Yep, indeed. And so far it's looking promising, but we'll see if they can keep it up in qualifying.
Indeed so, and we've already got a prediction in the stream chat in the form of Chanak Kershali. He says both AlphaTauris, both Aston Martins, a Haas and a Williams. And hello Jake Galloway, who's also joined us in the stream chat. Good to have you with us this Tuesday evening. So anyway, as Byrne makes his way through into turn 6, 7 and 8 now then. As so far we've got 14 cars out on the racetrack now. They make that 15 as more cars start to make their way out of the pit lane. Very interested to see if anybody gets held up in traffic on their first lap, and also with the mistake rate as well. Given how close we've seen with the pecking order as well, it's going to make things very, very interesting. We could be in for a very, very exciting first qualifying session of 2021. Who is going to get the first pole position of the fantasy era? As now here comes Byrne now then, who will make his way towards the final four corners on the racetrack. And Byrne now then going to be starting his first flying lap of Q1 very, very soon now then, as he makes his way through the final two turns and then into the final corner and onto the pit straight. And Byrne is going to start his lap. All 22 cars are now out on the racetrack, as you can see on the graphic on the left hand side, so nobody is being left behind at this point. So Byrne now then makes his way down towards the first corner now then. Turn 1 and then into turn 2 now then will go the Irishman, as he just misses the curb on the outside before making his way towards the third corner on the racetrack. Obviously now in real life it's obviously opened out a little bit, but obviously because this is the 2018 version of Melbourne, it obviously doesn't have that anymore due to the fact that the 2022 version doesn't work at the moment for OC standard. As now Byrne now then makes his way towards the end of the first sector and he does a 28.121. Let's see what everybody else does in the first sector now. They're 28.468 for Takirashima DeRosa in the first sector, a little bit off there. But Derry does an even quicker first sector than DeRosa in that first sector. A 28.119 for Chatfield, so 2 thousandths quicker there than Byrne in the first sector. A 29.329 for QPOC. 28.258 Fraser in the first sector. It's a 50.887 now then for Byrne in the second sector now then, as you just passed the second sector. 51.168 for DeRosa. I don't know if it's because Videri is interfering with him, because both of them set their second sector points at roughly around about the same point. A 51.099 for Fraser, 52.201 for QPOC in the second sector now then, and a 50.823 for Carr, 50.875 for Lopez in the second sector. So here comes Byrne now as he makes his way down the pit straight. What is the benchmark of time going to be from the Irishman? As Byrne now then crosses the line and he does a 1:23.760, the quickest time we've seen so far this week. DeRosa crosses the line and goes 4 tenths slower with that lap. QPOC doesn't improve. Sorry, it does improve. It goes into fourth for Videri, second for Lopez there, as Chatfield went into fourth that time, bit disappointing. Third there for Daniel Fraser, a good time for him there. Here comes Rahul Patel across the line, goes into second, so holding back what he was showing in practice. The car goes fastest now by 0.04 of a second. Laura Chung across the line, slots into sixth. Julius Anderson in the Aston Martin across the line, goes into sixth place. George Rowe goes to third, 800 off of car in at that point. Here comes Jamie Griffiths across the line, he will go in the Williams, goes into 12th. Joseph Willows in the McLaren, across the line he goes, and he goes fastest by 0.3 of a second. Willows to the top of the timing sheets as Wilson goes 7th. A good first lap there for Amelia Wilson that time by, but we've still got a load of cars across the line. Franco Gamba in the Red Bull crosses the line. What can he do? He slots to 4th, gets in front of teammate Rowe. Quag crosses the line, goes into 14th with that lap. Miko Ascal in the struggling AlphaTauri. Where's he going to place himself? His teammate down in 17th. He goes 16th, goes above Jamie Griffiths for the moment as Quag went 14th as mentioned earlier. Felix Sontag crosses the line, slots to 17th. Perinin goes 7th despite being held up by Sontag there. Third place now for Jake Galloway, so he was holding back in practice as well. Galloway slots into third position now. Then here comes Roland Motrin in the Aston Martin. He goes 21st. Not a very good first lap for Roland Motrin, but they're the first laps done with. And at the moment, we've got Joseph Willows at the top of the timing sheets. A very good lap for him indeed, as we believe that Motrin may have made a mistake somewhere. Let's see. And because we are riding on board with him, let's see. Did he make a mistake? And no, it just seemed like he was just off the pace. It just seems like the Aston Martin pace, the pace he was showing in practice, seems to have come back in qualifying at the moment. So at the moment, Willows at the top. A very good first lap there,
Yeah, I just looked at the first sectors. He had a mighty first sector. He did a 27.9. No one else wasn't able to do a 27. But wasn't able to get into the 27s in the first sector. Everyone else was in the 28s or 29s. But yeah, Willow's really impressive right now. Goes quickest by 3/10 to car.
Very good first lap as well, it's fair to say, for Amelia Wilson to get up into 10th in the Haas. A very good first lap for her in her first race as a Haas driver, of course. And so far in the bottom 6 is a Q-Pot there, having to try and swerve around one of the McLarens there. But so far the bottom 6 at the moment are Videri, Gal, Sontag, Griffiths, Motrin, and Q-Pot at the moment. Videri down in the drop zone at the moment, which is a bit of a shame really, because he was looking quite quick in practice,
Yep, indeed, and also it's a good time from Gal going up to 18. He's kind of close to getting it up to safety, but we'll see what happens.
Indeed so, as the Lamborghini mechanics get to work there. And to be fair, Yuri, I know you've edited it from a Jaguar, from the vanilla game Jaguar, but that's pretty good what you've done there with their suits there. It looks pretty realistic, it's fair to say. But yes, as Rahul Patel now then, is in the garage now then, same with Laura Chung, both Lamborghinis back in the garage, and we'll wait for the second runs to get underway. And will Evan Byrne get out first like last time, or will somebody else beat him to the punch for the second flying laps? Of course, let's not forget as well, of course, with these sessions, usually one driver gets left behind during the next run, so who that will be, we'll have to wait and see, as Franco Lopez, in fact, is going to be the first one on track for the second runs at the moment, currently down in 9th position. And so far, we saw this in practice as well, car seems to have the edge on Lopez so far.
Yep, indeed, but we'll see if Lopez can respond, but we'll see what happens.
Indeed so, but looking at the pecking order at the moment, the top 16 separated by just under a second, 0.940 to be exact, so pretty close times we're seeing at the moment. Only 200 separating both the former Renault teammates, Galloway and Byrne, at this point in time. Chatfield, not a very good first lap for him at the moment, given that he topped the practice session at the moment,
Yep, indeed. At the moment, he's in 15th. Not the best first lap, but if he can improve, it could be good enough.
We'll see though. There's plenty of time for the drivers to improve as well on the second flying laps, and given what we saw in Bahrain, of course, during the preseason test, it could be very interesting to see how many improve, especially the bottom 6, whether they'll be able to improve on their lap times at the moment. But Q-Pot, the only driver at the moment to be over 2 seconds behind the man currently at the top, which is Joseph Willows, and not the best first lap for Q-Pot, it's fair to say, and he'll be looking to improve. But so far, as expected, so far, both AlphaTauris in the drop zone again. They seem to be struggling at the moment,
Yep, indeed. And it's going to be continue on throughout the season for them.
Indeed so, but meanwhile, Lopez is about to start his second flying lap. Hopefully there's no traffic by the time he gets down there. You can see on the minimap there's some cars trying to get out of the pit lane, but will there be any traffic by the time he gets down there into the first corner? And unfortunately there is.
Patel.
has held him up there, so Lopez is not going to get a clean second lap, it's fair to say. He's been held up by the Lamborghini of Rahul Patel as he now tries to overtake the Indian driver going into turn 3, which Patel says no to that. So Lopez's lap compromised there, so he's not going to get any higher than ninth in this on this run at least, Ra.
Yep, indeed. I couldn't comment more on that one.
Yeah, indeed. As Lopez now then just doing the best he can. As a result of that hold up, 1.9 seconds down on Willows in the first sector. So it just shows how much Patel has affected his lap right there. Patel currently in 7th place at the moment. And whilst we're on the topic of Patel, it does seem like he was hiding that pace from practice, it seems, Ra.
Sandbags, say hello.
Probably yes, indeed. And you could also say the same about George Roke as well. So that's that, really. Not a very good first lap for Kirishima De Rosa being down in 14th, although we do think that he might have had a little bit with Videri there. But then again, there was somebody in between him and Videri there. So I don't know, really. Maybe he made a mistake on his lap. Who knows? But he will get a second flying lap as Roland Motrin is going to be the only one that's going to get left behind in this run. But of course, Lopez is not going to improve, but we'll just see what lap time he's going to do anyway after the hold up with Rahul Patel. Lopez crosses the line and does a 125.5 exactly. Byrne, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. Let's see what he can do. Can he potentially challenge Willows? Well, at the moment, he's 1/10 down on Willows, but he could get himself up into second place. Let's see what Evan Byrne can do in the Renault then, as the Irish driver crosses the line, and he does go up into second place, 2/10 off of Willows. Here comes Chatfield, he's on an improvement. He's currently down in 15th position. Can Chatfield improve? Yes, he can. He goes up into second, so he finally shows the pace that he showed in practice. 2nd and 5th at the moment for the two Ferrari drivers. Here comes Julius Anderson now then, currently in 13th position now then as he makes his way through the final corner. Onto the pit straight now then will go Julius Anderson as he now will make his way across the line. No improvement for him. Laura Chung improves to go up into 7th. So Chung gets in front of her teammate Patel to go up into 7th. Videri also on improvement. Can he get into the top 10? Yes, he can. Goes up into 8th position. That's more likely. That's the pace we saw in practice. Roke is also on improvement. Can he get himself to the top of the timing sheets? Roke across the line, and yes, he can by 3/10 of a second. Roke to the top of the timing sheets. Garmer improves to 6th. Carr goes up into 3rd position. DeRosa improves, but only up to 12th. Willows doesn't improve, stays in 2nd. Galloway on improvement. He goes up into 6th position. A lot of improvements on this lap. Kupok is on improvement. Let's see how close he can get to his teammate Gal. He goes 21st, goes above Motrin. Gal doesn't improve. Carr, Quag across the line. No improvement for him. Sontag is on improvement, and he goes up into 19th. Griffiths crosses the line. He also goes up to 19th. Perinen doesn't improve. Stays where he is at the moment, which is P11 at the moment. Fraser, 14th meanwhile, as Patel goes up into 5th. A big improvement there for the Indian driver. He goes up into 5th place there, and they are the second runs done with. And, well, a lot of improvements there that time by Ra, and Roke with an absolutely amazing lap there to go 3/10 quicker than Willows.
Yeah, he was definitely hiding something, as you just said, and he's completely showed it.
Yes, indeed, and of course the Red Bulls being the early favourites so far, judging from pre-season testing, and at the moment the Red Bulls definitely showing that pace with Roke doing a 1:23.102, but Chatfield, a much better lap for him there,
Yep, indeed. Up to P4. That's more like it for him.
Indeed so, and now in the drop zone we have Quag, who's now down in the drop zone. The Frenchman in his return down in the drop zone with Miklos Gal, Jamie Griffiths, Felix Sontag, David Kupok, and Roland Motrin, who's down in last position at the moment in the drop zone. Although we do expect Roland to come out on track on the next runs, of course, because he was left behind on this occasion. His teammate Julius Anderson just in the cusp of the top 16 at the moment, and again, just like we saw in pre-season testing, the Aston Martin's really struggling at the moment.
Yep, indeed. I don't think it's going to be a track for them, and it's not really looking good for them as it stands.
No, definitely not. But so far, the Lamborghini is looking pretty strong at the moment, in the top 10. Patel, a brilliant lap for him to get up into 5th position, and Chung in 9th. So far, both of them doing a cracking job.
Looks like, well, it's pretty much battle of the rookies for now, but for one rookie against an experienced driver.
Exactly at the moment. Perinin currently down in 11th position, so not quite able to show the pace that he was showing in practice at the moment, but at the moment he will be safe to go through into Q2, but his teammate doing a good job, Evan Byrne, to get some good lap times in, as we've got a bit of a traffic jam going on here, and Patel will be hoping that Williams shifts itself so he can get himself back into the pits and potentially do one more flying lap if he can. But yeah, a bit of a traffic jam so far in the pit lane, but everybody seems to be sorting themselves out pretty quickly, although Wilson looks like she's made some contact and has had that thing that Grand Prix usually does. And as expected, Motrin first out on track for the 3rd flying laps at the moment, and well, he desperately needs to improve, Rail.
Yep, indeed. And he is 2 seconds off the pace. Same with Kupok as well. He's got to find a lot of time if he wants to go go through to Q2.
Indeed, as Motrin now then makes his way out on track now then, as he makes his way towards turn number 3 on the track now then, using the curb on the inside, as he'll now make his way through the left and then into the right-hander. One person I do need to point out, well, it's disappointing at the moment, Franco Lopez. He's just come out on the track, but he's only in 13th at the moment. It's a two-time champion.
Yep, indeed. He definitely got really compromised by Patel.
He did indeed. Who knows whether he would have been on an improvement, but he'd be hoping that he'll get a clear track in front, providing that there's no traffic coming out of the pits like we saw with Lopez a little bit earlier on there. But as mentioned, one man that needs to improve is Roland Motrin, and the man who'll be hoping there's no traffic by the time he makes his way back around the racetrack, as he's currently down in last position, 200ths off of David Cupock at the moment, and one Aston Martin currently in the cusp of the top 16, that being Julius Anderson, another man making his return to the top class for the first time since 2017. Of course, Motrin and Anderson reuniting his teammates this season, and so far it's not going really well at the moment for Aston Martin. But anyway, Motrin about to start his next fly, and that potentially lasts depending on how much time there is left on the clock, and he'll be hoping, as mentioned earlier, there's no traffic for the Hungarian drivers. He makes his way through the final turn onto the pit straight now. Then he will go, as Motrin will now start his next flying lap, and luckily for him there is no traffic around, so it is going to be a clean lap for the Hungarian, who is still yet to get a victory in the OC, of course, and judging from the pace from the Aston Martin, it probably won't look like that's going to happen anytime soon, which is a shame really, because he came close to winning on a few occasions last season, but unfortunately due to several reasons it didn't happen. Anyway, Motrin just comes out of turn 3 into turn 4 he goes now then, before making his way through the flat out turn 5 now then. Let's see what his sector times is like compared to his personal best. Keep an eye on the death panel at the top. He comes towards the first sector and he's 3 temps up in at the first sector, 5 temps off of rope to be exact. So let's keep an eye on what it's like in the second sector then for Roland Motrin, and then get a little bit of an indication of where he could put his Aston Martin. He could potentially put his own teammate Julius Anderson in the drop zone if he can keep this up, as now Motrin makes his way towards the end of sector 2 now. Then let's see what his time is like in the second sector as he approaches the end of the second sector. Again, 3 temps up in the second sector, 8 temps off of rope, so I think he could get himself into the top 16, but I think he'll only just be around about 14th or 15th, I would say he'll get himself to, as now Motrin makes his way through into the final 4 turns on the racetrack. The Hungarian now then desperate to get out of the drop zone now then, as he makes his way through the right-hander up towards the final 2 turns. Then we'll go Roland Motrin as he makes his way through the left, and now into the final corner we'll go Roland Motrin. Can he get himself out of the drop zone now then? The whole of Hungary will be hoping he can, as now Motrin now then goes down the pit straight and across the line will go the Aston Martin driver, and he does improve, but only up to 21st. That's a disaster, and he might be out as a result, as Lopez again getting compromised by the traffic. He's in 13th at the moment. Chatfield also getting held up by the traffic as well. He doesn't improve as a result, but only 21st for Roland Motrin. He lost a lot of time in that last sector and only gets himself up 1 place. It looks like it might be a back row start for Roland Motrin at the moment, and it might be the only lap he's going to have left. As now we look at Laura Chung now then, who makes her way down the pit straight now then. Laura Chung across the line she will go. No improvement, stays in P9. Here comes Evan Byrne, who's again up on his personal best. So Byrne again looking at an improvement. Let's see what he can do. He's currently in 6th position. Where can the Irish driver go as he makes his way down the pit straight in the Renault? Across the line he goes. He's looking like a good time for Byrne. Across the line, goes up to 3rd. A good time for him there. As Rope goes even quicker by 49 thousandths of a second. He does a 1:23.053 as De Rose across the line and does not improve. Stays in 12th for the moment. Garber doesn't improve. Stays in 8th. Galloway across the line. He will go. He will remain in 7th place. Here comes Armar Carr. Also not looking like he's on improvement. He's way off. Did he have any traffic or did he make a mistake?
He must have made a mistake. He must have made a mistake.
And let's have a look. And no, he got held up. He got held up by some traffic in the form of, I think that's Daniel Fraser who held him up there. So Carr getting held up there, and as a result was not able to improve. Stays in 4th as a result, but he should be safe anyway. Fraser starting a lap now. Then Cupock only up to 19th there. As Anderson goes up to 15. Looks like Cupock is out of qualifying. Perrin is on an improvement across the line, and he only remains 11th. Improves on his time. Willows doesn't improve. Stays in 2nd place. Quag is currently in the drop zone. Can he improve across the line? And no, he can't. Quag is out. His first qualifying session back in the top class. Quag is out. He remains in 17th. Patel didn't improve. He stays in 6th. As here comes Miklos Gal. Last chance for him to get himself out of the drop zone, but it's not looking good for the Hungarian, I don't think. As now coming down the pit straight then will go Miklos Gal, and across the line he will now go. And no, he doesn't improve. Gal is out in his first race back with AlphaTauri. He remains in 18th. Wilson doesn't improve, stays in 16th. She'll be hoping she can stay in that top 6 threshold. Sontag doesn't improve. He's out. He remains in 21st position as a result. As we now got to look at Fraser now then, who's the only one left to do a lap, but he's already safe anyway. So it looks like Fraser is through into Q2, and it looks like both Hasses are going to make it through into Q2, which is a big achievement for them, indeed, considering where they were last season. Both Hasses making their way through into Q2. As now we look at Fraser now, then he will make his way towards the final few turns. As it doesn't look like he's going to improve anyway, as he will now make his way through the final turn. And a few corners now then, as now into the second to last corner. Now into the final corner will go Daniel Fraser, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight, and across the line will go Daniel Fraser now then, as he will now make his way across the line, and he does not improve. Stays in 14th, but it's not going to matter because both Hasses are through into Q2. A big achievement for them indeed. But the drivers out in Q1, of course, are Quag, Gal, Cupart, Griffiths, Sontag, and Roland Mottram. We didn't think the Aston Martins would perform well here, but to be in last, that is not good for Aston Martin indeed, Ra.
Yep, indeed. With one of them going through and the other one starting last, it is very disappointing.
Indeed so, and well, a big shot there for Roland Mottram to be down in last position as we wait for it to go back onto the, well, in fact, it was mainly because Yuri was on the desktop there. That's why the timer was kind of being slow there. But anyway, that is Q1 done with, and well, a very interesting session, it's fair to say, Ra.
Yep, indeed. And also, Franco Lopez down in 13th. I think it's a bit of a scare for him, being getting held up twice in the last 2 laps, and hasn't been looking great for him. But hopefully, he could try and get a lap to get through into Q3 next, going into Q2.
Have to wait and see, of course, but you'll be hoping there'll be no traffic next time by if he wants to try and advance into Q3, because so far not looking good for the two-time world champion. But anyway, top 3, Roke, Willows and Byrne, and your bottom 6, to remind you, are Roman Quag, Mikolas Gal, David Cupot, Jamie Griffith, Felix Sontag, and Roland Mottram. So, just going to wait a bit for a moment, guys. Of course, we'll let Yuri sort out what he needs to do for Q2. But in the meantime, guys, you can let us know your prediction as to who you believe will be eliminated into Q2. And so, yeah, it will be very interesting indeed who's going to advance into the final part of qualifying and battle for the first pole position of 2021 indeed. But yeah, big shock in that Roland Mottram has qualified last in the Aston Martin. Not a very good session for him indeed. Only Julius Anderson is the only remaining Aston Martin left in Q2. And, well, the Astons really on the back foot at the moment, Ra.
Yep, indeed. Could be in big trouble.
Indeed so, but we'll have to wait and see how the next part of qualifying progresses, really, and whether it will continue to be a problem for them. But in the meantime, I'm just going to put the tweet up on Twitter for you guys, and then we'll just wait for Yuri to do what he needs to do for Q number 2, really. So anyway, so apologies if I go silent for a brief period, guys. Oh, Q Park, Fizz, Sonton, and Mottram. There we go. There we go. The tweet is out there on Twitter, and now we just wait for Q2 to get underway. So that really, and so far, looking good at the moment. It's fair to say for Red Bull at the moment, Ra, because George was looking very strong in the end. It definitely shows he was holding back something in practice.
Yep, indeed. But for Franco Gamba, not the best at the moment, but we'll see what he could do in Q2.
Indeed so, and whether he'll up what he's been known for doing last season, which is being a bit of a qualifying merchant, we'll have to wait to see. Of course, Garma did qualify on the front row here last season, as judging from the thumbnail, as you can see on your screen, because that is Garma that was on the left-hand side starting last season. But yeah, so it will be interesting to see if Gamba can try and match Roke in the next session or not. We'll have to wait and see. And it will be interesting to see what Lopez can do in the next session because, of course, he didn't have the best Q1. But we've got the screen back up, guys, and we might as well get underway. So, your prediction then, Ra. Who do you believe will be eliminated in the second part of qualifying?
That is gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna say both houses. Videri, um, Anderson. Um, it's gonna be a tough one. I'm probably gonna have to say tough. Uh, a Lamborghini and a. I'm gonna go both same Mercedes.
Ah, okay, right. My prediction, I'm going with both Hasses, Julius Anderson in the Aston Martin. I'm going to say Vaderi in the Alfa Romeo. I'm going to go bold and say a Renault to go out. And I'm also going to say a Lamborghini. So that's what I believe anyway. But you guys can let us know in the stream chat as Evan Byrne, just like he did in Q1, is the first guy to come out onto the racetrack. Von Chanek has said his predictions. He said Anderson, Vaderi, both Haas, a Lamborghini, and a Mercedes. He's going quite bold there as well. Evan has also said, well, a brief prediction. He said both Renaults out. It's been going well for us so far. I think he said that in a bit of a joking way there. But who knows,
Yes.
really? Anything can happen in the OC, and it usually does. But anyway, all 16 cars will be going out on the track, so there should be no traffic issues for Evan Byrne on his first flying lap of Q number 2. But so far, on the topic of Renault, Byrne showing some very strong pace in Q1, Ra, to get into third.
Yep, indeed. We'll see how he does in Q2, but it's so far looking good at the moment. Hopefully, it's not jinx.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But Byrne now then making his way towards the final 4 corners on the racetrack. As Byrne now then will be making his way towards the final couple of corners to start his first flying lap of Q number 2. And again, you can keep an eye on the left-hand side what they're able to do in the first sector now then. Through the final turn will go Evan Byrne as he now makes his way onto the pit straight now then. And Evan Byrne will cross the line to start his first flying lap of Q number 2 then as he makes his way through into the first corner now then on the racetrack. A few more cars as well have just started their first flying lap to Q2. In fact, there was a car just behind Byrne there who's just not that far behind him at this moment in time, as you can see on the mirrors on the right and left hand side of his car now then as Byrne makes his way through into turn 3. Through turn 4 he goes, and then he'll go flat out through turn 5 before making his way towards the end of sector 1. Flat out he goes. Let's see what his first sector time is like compared to the rest. He does a 28.282 in the first sector, a 28.053 for Joseph Willows. That's the guy who's behind, so he's just under 2 tenths quicker than Byrne in the first sector. A 28.288 for Fraser, pretty decent first sector for him. A 28.209 for Federi, a 28.185 for Roke. He's actually slower than Willows in the first sector there. So here comes Byrne through the second sector at 51.171. Not as quick as what it was on his first flying lap of Q1, where I think he did a 50.7 if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Byrne now then making his way towards the final 4 corners. A 51.209 for Fraser. 51.082 I think that says for Vaderi, 51.019 for Roke, 50.811 for Willows. So Willow's looking pretty strong at the moment on his first final lap, just as he did in Q1. So Byrne now then rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight now then will go the Irish driver. What is the benchmarker time going to be for him as Byrne crosses the line, and it's a 124.295, but that gets beaten by 6 tenths by Jose Willows. A 123.684 for Jose Willows. Not the quickest we've seen, I don't think, but still, or is it the quickest? In fact, I might be wrong on that. I'll have to double check on that. But Fraser goes into second, Chung fourth there, so Fraser going quicker than Byrne on the first lap there. As Roke is going to cross the line, he slots into second, 3 tenths behind Joseph Willows. Here comes Amar Carr in the Mercedes. Across the line will go last season's runner-up, and he goes fastest by 18 thousandths of a second, a 123.666 for Armar Car. He goes to the top. Here comes Rahul Patel in the Lamborghini. Across the line he will go. Slots into 8th, just behind teammate Loa Chung. In fact, just under 2/10 behind Loa Chung. Franco Gama goes into 3rd on his first lap. Anderson goes into 10th. Here comes Chris Chatfield in the Ferrari across the line. He goes into 4th, 3/10 off of Armar Car. Amelia Wilson and the Haas crosses the line, slots into 11th. Kirishima DeRosa crosses the line, goes into 10th. Lopez crosses the line, goes into 6th. A much better time than what it was previously. Galloway goes fastest by 3/10 of a second. So Galloway now to the top of the timing sheets. As here comes Jesus Perinen in the Renault. He slots only into 11th on his first flying lap. So similar pace than what we saw earlier on. Only 10th and 11th there for the Renaults there, Ra. So Evan might have jinxed himself there a little bit there.
Yeah, maybe we have jinxed the Renaults.
Perhaps, but anyway, it's meanwhile Galloway, the man who's setting the early pace at the moment with a 1 minute 23.327, and I was correct earlier, it isn't the quickest time we've seen, of course, because Roke did a 1:23.053 in Q1, but so far, a very good first lap for Jake Galloway at the moment, Ra.
Yep, indeed. He'd really good lap from Galloway. Right, hopefully he could keep it up. It's kind of like the similar lap as what Willows did.
Indeed so. Both Lamborghinis at the moment currently in the drop zone. So far, the 6 drivers in the drop zone are Jesus Perinen, Laura Chung, Kirishima DeRosa, Rahul Patel, Amelia Wilson, and Julius Anderson. At the moment, one Haas is currently in the top 10 at the moment, Ron, and that's Daniel Fraser.
Yeah, indeed. It was a great first lap from Fraser, same with Federi, who's in 8th at the moment. Really good lap from him as well.
Indeed so, but not the best first lap for Lamborghini, currently in the drop zone, but we could see more for them to come a little bit later on, because as we saw in Q1, they were able to do better on their second flying lap, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. But yeah, only 12th and 14th at the moment for the new Lamborghini team. And Perinen, of course, also needing to improve. He's currently in the drop zone, and only P10 for Byrne at the moment. We'll have to wait and see if they're able to improve on their second flying lap as Patel gets wheeled back into the garage by the Lamborghini mechanics. And so that's that at the moment, as one of the Hasses there is waiting to get wheeled back into the garage as well. As Patel is lifted up and ready to get going for a second run. Let's see if Byrne will be the first to go out again, or will somebody else beat him to the punch this time by. And it is somebody who's going to beat him to the punch. It's actually Joseph Willows who's going out first of all, currently in 3rd position, and so far looking pretty strong in the McLaren at the moment, Ra.
Yep, indeed. Good luck from him, and hopefully he can keep it up, and we'll see if he can challenge for pole position.
Unlike his teammate at the moment, Kirishima DeRosa, who's down in 13th so far, and it was the same in Q1, seems to be struggling at the moment around this track.
Yep, indeed. Not been the best first session from Kirishima DeRosa, but we'll see what happens. It's qualifying. I mean, anything can happen. We'll see what can happen.
Indeed so, as Willows is preparing to start his next flying lap of Q number 2, as he's currently in 3rd position at this point in time, as he makes his way through turns 9 and 10 now then. And currently 3/10 off of Jake Galloway at this point in time. Of course, Galloway and Willows, of course, had a crash last season at Silverstone. You may remember that fast one. And a lot of people branding Willows as a bit too old when that happened. And I think Willows will want to put that behind him, of course. And as mentioned earlier, he'll want to get back onto winning ways this season as well, given that 2020 was the first time he suffered a winless season. As Willows now then...
He's young.
As Willows now then prepares to start his next flying lap now then, as he'll now make his way down the pit straight, and Willows starts his next flying lap now then, as he now makes his way down towards the first corner now then in the McLaren through turns 1 and 2 will go the 2-time champion. And let's see if he can try and improve on his lap at the moment. Only Galloway, Chatfield, and well, I was about to say someone else, and now Chatfield's out. Just Galloway left, so it was just the 2 Ferraris that are going to be last on the racetrack. But luckily for Willows, no traffic on his next lap, so he can have a clear track in front. But let's see if he can try and improve and maybe try and go quicker than Galloway. Let's see. Galloway did a 27.9 in the first sector, pretty strong first sector, but Willows down on his personal best in the first sector. So
we have a bot. We have a bot in the chat, lads. We have a bot in the chat.
Oh, do we?
Yep.
That's brilliant, isn't it? As anyway, back to the action. Anyway, back to the action, and as now Willows goes down towards the second sector now then, and again finds himself down in the second sector by a tenth. As Willows now then makes his way towards the final 4 corners on the racetrack now then. Let's see if Willows can find some time in the last sector. I doubt it because he was down in the first 2 sectors. But all 16 cars are now out on the racetrack. I think the Ferraris will be starting a little bit later on, along with somebody else who I can't quite remember who it was. But anyway, as Willows now then comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight now, then we will go. As Willows now then crosses the line and does not improve, stays where he is for the moment. As Lopez is about to start his lap along with a few other cars. As Bernie's actually not up on his personal best at the moment, and it didn't look like he got held up by the Ferrari, unless he did coming out the pit. He might have done actually, as he's 2.7 seconds off. So I do think he got held up by Galloway coming out the pits there, or sorry, Chatfield, the other Ferrari, because Galloway's about to start a lap. Patel up on his personal best, and he could get himself into the top 10. Looking at that time, because he's only 1/10 off of Galloway. This could be a good lap for Patel, and he goes up to 4th. A big improvement there for Rahul Patel, and Chung is also on a very good lap. She goes up into 6th. So both Lamborghinis get themselves into the top 10. That pushes Fraser outside the top 10, and also both Renaults are now outside of the top 10. As Fraser currently holding up, I think that's Lopez again. Fraser
no car.
It's Roke, meanwhile, goes up into 2nd, as Franco Gamba is also up on his personal best. Let's see what Roke's teammate can do as Gamba makes his way onto the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve. He lost time in the last sector, currently in 6th position at the moment, as Wilson didn't improve there then, as Perrinin got held up and he doesn't improve either. Wilson improves, but only up into 15th. Anderson's on an improvement, and he's on a massive improvement at the moment, so he could, he's on a massive improvement, but I don't think he's going to lift him in any position at the moment, judging from the gap between himself and Amelia Wilson, but we will see, as Anderson now then makes his way down the pit straight, and the Swedish driver crosses the line, and he does improve but remains in 16th position. Lopez is up on his personal best. Let's see what he can do, but not up by much at the moment. He's currently in 9th. Here comes Lopez. Across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve, loses time in the last sector. As De Rosa improves only to 14th. Chatfield up to 3rd, so 1-3 at the moment for the 2 Ferraris, and De Rosa again struggling in this session, it's fair to say. Galloway now then, currently the man at the top of the timing sheets, just comes around the final corner, and Jake Galloway will now cross the line, and he does not improve, stays where he is for the moment, and they are the second runs done with. Now, who will get out there to do one more flying lap? That is going to be the question, and who is going to get left behind? But for the Renaults, a disaster at the moment, Ra.
This is pretty much one of the surprises of the season, and this is the beginning. Renaults 12th and 13th, same with De Rosa in 14th. I mean, you can't write this, and I can't really believe it.
Indeed so, and well, Byrne will want to get back out there as quick as possible if he wants to try and get one of the Renaults into queue number 2. Whether Perrinin will get back out there in time, though, that is going to be another question. But a very big improvement for the Lamborghini drivers. Ryan, he said boys there before realising that is driving for Lamborghini. But either way, a good session. Very big improvement for both Lamborghini drivers, Ra.
Yeah, indeed. It's looking good in the debut season, as Joseph Willis is now going to be the first one out on track for his final run of the day.
Willow's going out on track at the moment, currently in 5th, and so far looking like he's going to be the only McLaren driver to make it through into the next part of qualifying, because so far De Rosa is really struggling at this point. Looks like might only be one McLaren in Q3 that could potentially be fighting for pole at the moment, because Willows has looked strong in both sessions at the moment, Ra.
Yep, indeed. I mean, he could be a really good contender for pole position as Joseph Willows.
Yes, indeed. And he'll get one more flying lap before Q2 comes to an end. Will anybody else join him? Is everybody, apart from... Yes, they will. Patel has gone out on track as well. He's arch nemesis.
Oh, the rivalry!
Yes, his arch nemesis, for oddly enough, has gone out onto the racetrack as well. As also Chung has gone out onto the racetrack, but nobody from the bottom 6 at the moment has gone out at the moment. Let's keep an eye on it. They need to get out before the 1:23 mark, otherwise they won't have a chance to get out and advance into Q number 3. So far, Videri looking very good to get the Alfa Romeo through into Q3 at the moment, but we will see. As Fraser is going out, he's giving himself one more chance to get himself through into the next part of qualifying. So he's gone out on the track. Anybody else going to join them, as we have just over 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining? Byrne has gone out. He's given himself one more chance to try and advance into Q number 3 in the Renault. Wilson also the same, as is Perrinin. So both Renaults have gone out onto the racetrack now then. Willows will be hoping there's no traffic by the time he gets back round, as he comes around the final corner. De Rosa and Anderson are still in the pit lane at the moment. So will they go out? Anderson, well, he's given himself one more chance, and Willows might get held up by some people, as De Rosa has also gone out onto the racetrack as well. So he has given himself one more chance. Videri has gone out on track, as Willows is being held up by Videri as well. So Willows' lap has been compromised as a result, so it doesn't look like that Willows is going to improve anytime soon. Lopez still in the pit lane at the moment, same with the two Ferrari drivers. But I do think both Ferraris are through into Q3 anyway, so I don't think they've got too much to worry about. I'd be a little bit more concerned if I was Lopez. Galloway is out on the racetrack now then, so he's giving himself one more chance. Will Lopez get out in time before the 1 minute 23 threshold? And the answer to that is, I don't think he has done. So Lopez has got to pray that he's done enough to get his Mercedes through into Q3. Otherwise, we could find ourselves with the defending champion being knocked out in Q number 2, which could be a bit of a shocker indeed. As Patel now then makes his way through turn 5. And we're going to look at him now because he hasn't been affected, unlike Willows. And he's up on his personal best again. He's 45 thousandths off of Galloway in the first sector now then. So let's see if Patel can keep this up at the moment. And again, Patel showing the pace that he showed in pre-season testing with this car. Lopez gets out just too late. He's got to pray that he's done enough to get his Mercedes through into Q number 3. And ensure that both Mercedes are through into Q3 as well. As Patel is actually up on Galloway in the second sector. Patel is actually gone purple in the middle sector. This is impressive from Patel. Can he actually stick the Lamborghini to the top of the timing sheets by the end of Q2? Let's see. As he now makes his way through the fourth to last corner now then. And now heading towards the final 3 corners will come the Indian driver who has been so impressive in pre-season testing. And he seems to have transferred here into qualifying. Can he get the Lambo at the top of the timing sheets in their first meeting in the top class? Let's see. Through the final turn and onto the pit straight goes Rahul Patel. Ken Patel goes fastest by the end of Q2. Across the line goes the Indian driver, and no, he can't. Just misses out by 200 of a second, but goes up into second place. A very good lap there for Rahul Patel. As now here comes Laura Chung as the checkered flag is now out. That signals the end of the session. Chung across the line. She will now go in the Lamborghini. No improvement for her as Lopez again has got to pray he's done enough to get through. But I think Fraser will not improve at the moment. I don't know if Lopez held him up when he came out of the pits, but Fraser across the line, he will go. And he doesn't improve. He's out. He remains in 11th. Chatfield just getting some miles. Byrne up on his personal best. Might get some healthy slipstream from Chatfield as well. Can Byrne get the Renault through into Q number 3 as he's now going to cross the line? In fact, he wasn't far off of Galloway. So this is a brilliant time from Byrne. And he goes up to 3rd. A big improvement there. He pushes Videri down into the drop zone now. Then here comes Wilson in the Haas now then, as Wilson now crosses the line and she doesn't improve. Perrin up on his personal best, goes up to 8th. That pushes Lopez out. Lopez is out of qualifying. Both Renaults have pushed Lopez out. The defending champion is out in Q number 2. A big shocker here in qualifying as Julius Anderson now then crosses the line in the Aston Martin. No improvement for him. He stays where he is. Garbo on the improvement, but loses time in the last sector and remains in 9th position. Videri crosses the line. Can he get into the top 10? No, he can't. He just misses out. Stays 11th. De Rosa does and pushes Chung out of qualifying. So Chung is out of qualifying. De Rosa ensures that both McLarens get through into Q number 3. Galloway now then makes his way through the final corner and onto the pit straight. We will go now then. Galloway across the line. He will go. Garber could be in trouble here if he's not careful. Galloway does not improve. And but I think he might be safe now anyway. Let's see. And yes, Garber just makes it through into Q number 3. But the biggest shock of all of it is that Franco Lopez is out in Q2 out of all of it. So Galloway, Patel and Byrne are your top 3. And the bottom 6, Laura Chung, Andre Videri, Franco Lopez, Daniel Fraser, Amelia Wilson and Julius Anderson. Lopez out, raw. Big shock.
Yeah, but these one of the biggest shocks we've ever seen. And it's only the beginning of the season. I can't believe this.
Indeed, Lopez out, the 2-time champion out, and he's going to have a lot to do tomorrow in the race. But Jake Galloway top in the session, and again, Ferrari looked strong in Q2 that time.
Yep, indeed. They could be under pressure from Lamborghini and the other teams, but we will see.
Very strong lap from Patel there, indeed. Did you honestly think for one moment he was actually going to get to the top of the timing sheets there, Ra?
No, pretty much no. I think it would have been inevitable that I would lose time in the final sector.
Still a good time nonetheless for Patel, but unfortunately only one Lamborghini through into Q number 3 as Laura Chung only just didn't make it through. But in the end, the Renaults leaving it last minute there, and both of them are through into Q3, Ra.
Yep, indeed. I mean, they had a luck. They were scared for one moment, but they turned it up. Same with the Rosa as well.
Indeed so, and anyway, we're just gonna get things prepared for Q3. But in the meantime, guys, you can let us know your prediction as who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to get the first pole of the fantasy era and the first pole of 2021. That is for sure.
Yep, indeed.
Do bear with me, guys, if I go a bit silent, but just writing down the results for Twitter. There we go. The tweet is up. And as mentioned, guys, let us know your prediction on who you believe will take pole position tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. And we talked about it earlier, Ra, how it was probably going to be an exciting qualifying session. And my God, has it been.
Yep, yes. It's never disappointed us at the moment.
Indeed, and well, we don't really know who's going to get pole position. That is for sure, because we've had two different teams top the qualifying sessions, and well, so far Ferrari have topped 2 out of 3 of the sessions so far. Because of course, let's not forget Chris Chatfield topped the practice session a little bit earlier on, and we've just seen now that Galloway has topped Q2, and Ferrari looking very strong around here. It's fair to say, and
Yep, indeed.
And well, it'd be very interesting to see if they can get pole position for the Australian Grand Prix and bounce back after what had been a tricky 2020 season for the Scuderia.
Yep, indeed. So, we'll see if they can get pole position, but it's looking good for them.
Indeed so, but I think they will have competition in the form of Red Bull, maybe Lamborghini in the form of Rahul Patel. I'm not sure, but I think it's too close to call, really, for this one. I guess we'll have to make a prediction a little bit, Patel, when we get onto the loading screen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, really. I'm looking forward to this session. And, well, it's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to get that improvement in right at the end of this first qualifying of 2021. And we haven't even had the race yet tomorrow. Who knows what the races are going to be like tomorrow if it's this exciting?
Yep, indeed. I mean, strategy is going to be the biggest factor here on the result.
Indeed. And, well, we've seen that Lopez can make fightbacks before, guys, of course. We'll have to wait and see if he does that in the race tomorrow. But we've got the screen back up, and we're getting underway for Q3. So without further ado, let's get into the final part of qualifying. Who's going to get the first pole position of 2021? I'm going to ask you, Ra, who do you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's race?
I'm going to say George Rope.
I'm going to say George Roke. I am going to go with... I think I'm going to go with... I fancy myself. I'm going to go with Evan Byrne for pole position. I think the Renault could spring a surprise towards the end of the session. They've been able to do that so far, and who knows really what they'll be able to achieve. But again, guys, let us know your prediction on who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix as we wait for the first car to go out. As welcome back, dog competition, ladies and gentlemen. And as, that's that really. So as that's that really. So anyway. We wait to see who is going to go out on track first. Then, as we look in the cockpit of Rahul Patel, and it is going to be Amar Khan that's going to be first on the racetrack for Mercedes. And who knows, really? Maybe Khan could be leaving something later on. Ra.
Yes, indeed. We'll see what happens. He could be a surprise. He could take pole position if he can.
Okay, so I'm going to read through some predictions, guys. And so let's see then. So Lee Bailey has said that Rahul Patel will get pole position. He believes that Lamborghini will get their first ever pole. Von Chanek has said that Jake Galloway will get pole position. And so that's that. So we've had 2 predictions so far in the chat. And well, actually no, we've got 3 because Evan has said Amar Khan will get pole in his opinion. So we've got 3 different predictions there. It's too close to call, really, as to who will get pole position. But one thing for sure, I think we're in for a very exciting Q number 3 now then. One more car still needs to come out onto the racetrack. As it says, we've only got 9 cars on the racetrack at the moment. But I think that 10th car is just coming out of the pit lane, judging from the mini-map on the right-hand side of your screen. And yep. Yes, all 10 cars are now out on racetrack. So Car will have a clear first lap of Q number 3. To try and see if he can put a very good benchmarker on the board. As Car now then, the only Mercedes in Q3 as a result of Lopez being eliminated. But as mentioned as earlier, we've seen in the past what Lopez can do when he's been knocked out in qualifying. He's usually made a good comeback in the race. So could we be looking at the same thing for Lopez tomorrow? We will have to wait and see. But anyway, Amar Khan now then is about to start his first final lap of Q3. Luckily no traffic of course as mentioned, as he'll now make his way down towards the first two corners on the racetrack. Through turn 1 and then turn 2 will go last season's runner-up, and he is determined more than ever, to try and finally get that first world title that's been eluding him. Although, having said that, he's going to lock up into turn 3 there, had a little bit of a wiggle going through there, and that's going to affect his lap, Ra.
Yep, indeed, the determination was there, but he had too much determination, it seems.
Indeed, a mistake there for Amar Khan on his first flying lap, and this lap already in the bin for last season's runner-up. So anyway, his car now then makes his way through turn 5. Let's see what the first sector is going to be now then as a result of that mistake. A 28.536 and only a 28.118 for Galloway. So he's only 4 tenths off of Galloway that time by. A 28.132 for Chatfield. So very close between the two Ferrari drivers in the first sector. 28.222 for Ray Hobbitola. 28.165 for Rowe, because Perinen does a 27.993. So Perinen looking very strong in the first sector. Here comes Carr's second sector now then, a 51.325 for him there. And now they made it through the chicane. A 50.951 for Chatfield, a 50.969 for Galloway, and again similar between the two Ferraris there, as 51.003 for Roke, a 51.016 for Patel. Patel gaining a bit on Roke in the second sector, as Perinen does a 50.672. So Perinen looking very strong on his first qualifying session in the top class. Of course, this is his rookie season, and he's looking very strong at the moment on his first final lap. But the benchmark time is coming the way for Amar Khan. With that mistake, he does a 124.217. Galloway is expected goes quicker by 0.3 of a second. Chatfield goes even quicker, but only by 0.003 of a second. Here comes Rahul Patel in the Lamborghini. Across the line will go the Indian driver. He slots himself into third. Roke crosses the line. Only 4th for him on his first final lap. Perinen goes fastest by 0.3 of a second. So Perinen now to the top of the timing sheets, goes 0.3 quicker than Chris Chatfield. Here comes Kirishima DeRosa. Across the line he will go, and he goes second with that lap, as it's P3 for Evan Byrne. Maybe got a little bit held up there from DeRosa, so who knows, maybe there's more to come for Evan Byrne there. Here comes Franco Gamba. Across the line he will go in the Red Bull. Across the line he will go, and it's only P6 for him at the moment, so only 6th and 8th for the Red Bulls. Here comes Joseph Willows now there, who's way off of Perinen in the second sector, 8 tenths down. Has he made a mistake as well, just like Amar Khan? Let's see as he finishes his next flying lap now then. Comes around the final corner, and onto the pit straight will go the 2-time world champion, as Willows crosses the line now then in the McLaren, and it's only 10th place for him. So I wonder, Willows must have made a mistake to be 1 second off of Perinen overall. Did Willows make a mistake or not? I'm not sure, because we're not cut to a replay from Willows, so I wonder if Willows did make a mistake or not during that lap. But we know one person who did, and that was Amar Khan. A pretty poor, not the best time to be making a mistake, Ra.
Yep, indeed, and not the best laps for the Red Bulls, 6th and 8th for Gamba and Roke.
So I do wonder if Willows did make a mistake. For some reason, we're not looking at a replay of that, so I don't know if he did make a mistake or not, because we know that Carr made a mistake, but we don't know if Willows made a mistake as well to be over a second off of Perinen on that lap, as Galloway... Okay, fair enough then. So maybe it was just a poor lap. It's Galloway.
Once again.
Galloway currently in 5th position at the moment. The Ferraris currently finding themselves in where are they at the moment? In 4th and 5th at the moment. So they're up there in that fight, it's fair to say, Ra. But so far, Perinen setting the benchmark at the moment in his rookie season.
Yep, indeed. I mean, it's not the first time he's done this. If you look at BTCC.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, looking good for him. Fun enough that the only 2 rookies on the grid are in Q3.
Yes, indeed. As DeRosa currently in 2nd place at the moment in the McLaren at the moment, and looking like he's upped his game compared to the previous 2 sessions where he was struggling a bit, Ra.
Yep, indeed. We'll see what can happen there.
Indeed, as Patel now then is waiting to go out for his second flying lap of Q number 3. And we'll wait and see where that one will transpire, as whether this lap will be any good or not, as the seconds tick down, of course, as we wait for the second flying laps to get underway. Carr and Willows will need to improve, that's for sure, being that far off the pace, especially Carr, who made a mistake on his first flying lap. But Chatfield is going to be the first one on track this time by in the Ferrari. And as mentioned earlier, the Ferrari is looking very strong at the moment.
Yep, indeed. They're 4th and 5th, but if they can be they could get closer to Jesus Brennan, but we will see what happens.
Indeed so. And as they go around these section of corners now, then Carl, you made a mistake on your first lap, Arms. That's what we're talking about there. You made a mistake on your first lap, so it kind of affected you there. So anyway, Chatfield now then coming around towards turn 6, 7 and 8 as he'll be preparing, as mentioned, for his next flying lap in the Ferrari. As currently he finds himself only 3,000 separating the two Ferraris, nothing between them at this point in time. As Galloway is on track, as is Roke, as is Carr, and still 6 cars waiting to come out. Maybe that 5 now, because Patel has just come out onto the racetrack, and now Garber has as well. So 3 more cars left to come out of the pit lane. Perennan's just come out, Byrne has come out, and just DeRosa and Willows, the 2 McLarens left to come out onto the racetrack. Chatfield will be hoping he doesn't get held up by either McLaren. DeRosa's just come out onto the track, so he's not going to get held up there. And will Willows get out before Chatfield arrives on the scene? Let's see, as he makes his way through the final 2 turns. And around the final corner will come the Ferrari driver. Willow's still in the pits as we speak right now. Just trying to keep an eye on the minimap. He's still in the garage at the moment, so he's waiting to go out at the moment. But Chatfield, he's not going to get in traffic. Now Willows decides to come out of the garage now then. And luckily, nobody should get held up by Willows, judging from the mini-map on the top right. But Chatfield now then, let's see if he's able to improve on his first flying lap now then, as he makes his way through into turn number 3, as he looks to possibly try and get his first ever pole position as well. He is in that fight to try and do it. A lot of drivers fighting for their first ever pole. Byrne looking for his first pole in a very long time, it's fair to say. It's Chatfield. Let's see what his first sector is like. He's actually up on Perinin. He's up on Perinin in the first sector. 600ths up on Perinin in the first sector. So a very good first sector for Chatfield. Let's see if he can keep that up. And whilst he's on a lap, I'm going to double check to see when the last time Evan Byrne got pole position. I don't know if Byrne remembers himself or not in the stream chat, but I will double check anyway, just to be sure when his last pole position was in the OC, in the top class, I should say, and it was in Abu Dhabi of 2011 when he was at McLaren. So, as again, Chatfield up in the second sector, but he's lost a little bit of time. It's fair to say he's lost a little bit in the second sector, but let's see if he can try and regain it in the third sector. Let's see, 28,000 up on Perinin in the second sector. Can Chatfield potentially try and get his first ever pole position in the top class? Let's see, as now Chatfield makes his way into the second to last corner, and now into the final corner will go the British driver now then. It's around the final turn, and onto the pit straight will go Chris Chatfield, who was so impressive towards the end of last season. The Ferrari driver crosses the line, and can he go fast? Yes, he can. He finds some time in the last sector into the 123.404. Galloway is up on his personal best, but he's not up on Chatfield at the moment. Chatfield at the top with a 123.404 right now. Galloway into the second to last corner he goes. He's up on his personal best. Where can he place his Ferrari? Through the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Jake Galloway now then. The man who won the Chinese Grand Prix last season crosses the line. Where can he place himself? And he goes up to third, a 1-3 now then for the Ferrari, as Carr is up on his personal best, but not up on Chatfield at the moment. 2 tenths down on Chatfield in the second sector. As Carr now then makes his way down the pit straight and across the line will go Carr. Much cleaner lap for him, but where can he place in Mercedes? He goes up to 6th. As behind Roke goes fastest by 44 thousandths of a second. Roke to the top of the timing sheets. Here comes Ray Patel, who's up on his personal best. Cross line he will go. He goes up to 7th with that lap. Franco Gamba up on his personal best, but it looks like he's lost time in the last sector as the runner behind. Did it go fastest? I'm not sure, because we were too busy keeping an eye on Gamba, and there was a mistake. It was at the chicane.
Yeah, but he lost a lot in the chicane. Go oversteer and then compromised him in the next corner.
Will the Renaults go to the top? That's the question. Yes, it did. Byrne goes to the top by 400ths of a second. Byrne to the top of the timing sheets with a 123.320. Here comes Kirishima with DeRosa now then in the McLaren across the line. He will now go, and he does not improve. He stays in 6th position. And Willows is up on his personal best, but still not up on Byrne. Still way off. 4 tenths off in the second sector. So let's see what Willows can do on this lap then. I'm not sure where this is going to put him. I think I may put him around about in 7th or 8th at the moment, but still not a very good let me get my words out again. Not a very good lap for Willows again so far. 400 separating Byrne, well actually 800 separating the top 3 at the moment. Byrne to the top of the time sheet. Could he get his first pole in 10 seasons? His last pole, of course, I mentioned, came at the 2011 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Could Byrne actually do what he couldn't do a couple of seasons ago and actually get the pole? Willows does improve, but still in 10th position. Not very well for Willows at the moment, given the pace he showed in the first 2 qualifying sessions.
Yep, indeed. It's not really looking good for Willows. And yeah, hopefully he can improve on the final run, but I doubt we could get a final run.
We'll see, though. There may be a few cars that may get one more run in before the end of the session, but we will see, of course, as the Ferraris are being wheeled back into the garage. Of course, they need to get out before the 1 minute 23 if they want to get one more flying lap in this qualifying session. And so that's that, really, as Patel now comes back into the pit lane. P7 for him. A pretty decent first qualifying for him, Ra, it's fair to say.
Yep, indeed. Yep, indeed. He's done pretty well so far, and of course he's ahead of Omar Khan, Franco Gamba, and even Joseph Willows. But yeah, pretty promising start for him.
Indeed so. So let's see if anybody else will go out for a third flying lap as Patel gets wheeled back into the garage now then. Willows, I don't think will probably get another lap in, so it looks like it's going to be a disappointing P10 for Willows in the first race of the season. Chatfield going out, he's giving himself one more chance to potentially try and spoil Evan Burns' party and try and get his first ever pole position in the OC. So as he makes his way through the first two corners then, and I think first ever pole in the OC or first pole in the top class. I'll have to quickly double check on that one with Chris Chatfield. I might as well do that now whilst he's out on the racetrack, but he's the only one out on track at the moment. Will anybody else go out and do one more flying lap before the qualifying session comes to a close? Let me just quickly double check with Chris Chatfield. And just having a look, he has had poles in other series. The last time he ever had a pole in the OC was back in 2018 when he was at GP2. It was actually at Silverstone when he was driving for Trident. He's never had a pole in the top class. Could today be the day? We'll have to wait and see. Amar Khan goes out on track. He's giving himself one more lap. Down in 8th position at the moment, as Chatfield will start his next lap. Roke has also gone out on track, so he's also giving himself one more chance to get pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. Galloway also out on track. Both Ferraris have now gone out onto the racetrack, as is De Rosa. De Rosa's just gone out on track. Will Byrne get out on track, or will he settle for the 1 minute 23.320? The answer to that is no. He's gone out for one more time, just in case Chatfield, Roke, or anybody else tries to spoil his party. Perinen, meanwhile, currently in 4th. 1-4 at the moment for the two Renaults. Perinen has now just gone out onto the racetrack. I was just about to talk about him there. Gamba and Willows, the only two in the pit lane at the moment. Will any of them get out whilst Chatfield's about to start a lap? There is somebody coming out on track, and that might spoil Chatfield's plans. And it looks like it is the Red Bull of Gamba that's coming out on track, and Chatfield has been interfered. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like a dream first pole position for Chris Chatfield. So that's one rival out of the way for Evan Byrne, but Roke and Perinen and Galloway are still out there at the moment. So he can't be settled yet, can Evan Byrne, as now Chatfield will start his lap, and expected Willows will not be doing a lap, so a disappointing P10 for Joseph Willows for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. And Gamba, I think, will give himself one more lap to try and see if he can get any higher than 9th. His car, we're going to view out now as a result of Chatfield being held up, is just starting his final flying lap. Can he get any higher than 8th position? Let's see as he now makes his way towards turn 3 now then, as he just uses the curb on the right hand side there, through into turn 4, then into turn 5 now then. Will go Amar Khan. Let's see what his first sector split is like compared to Evan Byrne. He approaches the first sector now then, and he's down on his personal best by 2 tenths, so this is not going to be a good lap for Amar Khan, I don't think, as he now makes his way around the long swooping right-hander now then, making his way towards turns 9 and 10 now then, flicking the car in through the section of corners now then. Can he find some miracle in the second sector? I doubt it, but let's see now then, as Car now then approaches the second sector, and he's still 2 tenths down, but still not on an improvement, and 6 tenths overall off of Evan Byrne. So it looks like it's going to be a disappointing P8 for Amar Khan. 8th and 13th for the Mercedes in the first race of the season. Not exactly what they had in mind, as Khan now then comes around the third to last corner now then into what's the final 2 turns. So checkered flag is now out, signifying the end of qualifying now then, as Amar Khan comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight now then. Will go Amar Khan. Across the line now then, he will now go, and he doesn't improve, stays in 8th, as Roke meanwhile is not up on his personal best, so it doesn't look like that Roke is going to be on an improvement, but we will see, as Roke now then rounds the final corner and onto the pit straight comes George Roke, and he's now going to make his way across the line. Can Roke find some time in the last sector? And no, he can't. He stays where he is. Galloway is up on his personal best, but only into 5th position he goes. As now De Rosa makes his way through the final turn. He's not on an improvement either. As he comes down the pit straight across the line, will go Kirishima De Rosa. Across the line he will go, and he does not improve. Byrne, meanwhile, on track, not improving on his personal best. And he crosses the line. Patel's on an improvement, and he goes fastest! Right on the top of the timing sheet by 17 thousandths of a second. Here comes Hazen Perinin. Across the line he will go. He stays in 5th position, and Gamba is up on his personal best, but he's not up on Patel at the moment. As here comes Franco Gamba around the final corner. He will go down the pit straight, then goes Franco Gamba in the Red Bull. Across the line he will now go. Can he improve? He can, but only up into 7th place. And my goodness me, we have got a shocking first ever pole position. Rahul Patel in his first ever race, and in Lamborghini's first ever race, has taken pole position for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. Who would have thought that? Wow, wow, wow-wee. And, well, we're going to have a look at that qualifying lap from Rahul Patel. The checkered flag is now out, and Patel has taken the first pole of the season. So, we're going to let you enjoy the qualifying lap from Rahul Patel and react a little bit later. Wow-wee.
It's a great lap. Only sector you're not fastest in at the moment is the last sector by a couple of hundredths. We can't afford to slow down too much.
Well, who would have thought it? A brilliant lap for Rahul Patel, and, well, in the first race of the season, a shocking pole position.
Yeah, indeed. And the guy behind him was Evan Byrne, who tried to stop him, but he was really close to the back of Evan Byrne, but he actually didn't lose that much. He didn't lose any time in the final sector.
To slow down too much.
Indeed, and, well, Lamborghini in their first ever top class race will start on pole position. 17,000 in the end. So let's have a look then at the top 10 finishes. Rahul Patel takes his shocking first ever pole position. Lee Bailey predicted that right. Evan Byrne in second. George Roke in third, with Chris Chatfield in fourth. Hazes Perinin in fifth. Jake Galloway in sixth, with Franco Gamba in seventh. Kirishima De Rosa in eighth. Amar Khan in ninth, and Joseph Willows in 10th position. So what an exciting qualifying session, Ra.
Yeah, I think that's what Jamie Carragher would say in commentary. Scenes! Absolute scenes. We have just witnessed.
Yes, indeed. And, well, unbelievable stuff. And who knows what the race will have in offer tomorrow. But that has been it then, guys, for the first qualifying session of 2021. Probably the most exciting qualifying session I've ever seen, quite frankly, and a shocking pole sitter at the end of it. But that has been it then, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. We will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 58-lap Australian Grand Prix. Of course, we don't do commentary for the race because we allowed George to do that for the highlights. But until then, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be JW97. He's been Ra. And we will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 58-lap Australian Grand Prix. Till then, take care.
Goodbye.